Greetings and welcome to another video. So the title is correct. We did get 27 wins, precisely 27-2. We'll see what happens in the end in Weekend League with an Italian squad. We're doing this new thing now on stream where we're kind of trying to build the best possible Italian team, but things are going to be changing a little bit. We did make some changes at a certain point in the Weekend League. As you can see, this is the team here on stream. Don't mind past Valerio on the top, right? I'm doing a voiceover here. He was changing the kits and all that good stuff. But yeah, let's talk about the team as the goals start playing. So if you want to go back and check out the team, obviously you can go back at the start of the video or maybe check out some of my tweets as we get a pretty lucky goal to start off the Weekend League. But no worries, there are some beauties coming up. We actually had a rough start and a really easy ending. It was kind of weird. I'm not sure why, but maybe it was just getting accustomed to the team. Nonetheless, let's talk about the team a little bit, right? So obviously, it's not the best possible team I can buy because at the end of the day, when it was all said and done, I had about 4.567, I can't remember exactly, million coins liquid to spend from scratch on this team. Obviously, I had players like Sharaawy, Zaniolo, I had Zambrotta, you know, things like icon swaps, objectives, season pass players, Sharaawy, Tonali from the league SBC, so Politano from obviously the objective, so players like Del Piero, Pirlo, Baggio, Donnarumma, Florenzi, I had to purchase myself, right? And then obviously also Maldini, I got from an icon pack. Nonetheless, let's go through the players, right? Actually, before we do that, let's talk about the formations. What did I run? What was I playing? How did I get a League 1? Essentially, I played a 4-3-2-1 99% of the time. I had two versions of the 4-3-2-1. As we see, this is a phenomenal play from Baggio. Unfortunately, far post isn't good, so we couldn't finish it here. But Baggio-esque dribbling there nonetheless. By the way, before we actually get into the formations, please let me know in the comments. Do you guys want to see player reviews for me? You know, I played with players like Baggio, Pirlo, Del Piero. These are very interesting players. Spoiler alert, halfway through the Weekend League, we did complete Angelo Ogbonna. We're going to be seeing a little bit of him perhaps in the highlights. I'm not sure. So if you guys want to play a review on that player as well, let me know. I want to, maybe it's something new I could try, especially now that, you know, at this point of the game, we're trying, you know, whatever we want to try. Obviously, I don't have the budget to try too many, but let me know. If I ever do try some interesting players, that'd be interesting. Nonetheless, formations. Like I said, I had two 4-3-2-1 tactics, one of which I already showed in a previous video where I used those tactics in a draft, and we had a kind of a crazy draft final. And the second, and basically the way that 4-3-2-1 works is it's the one that Japes gave me, and he shared there as Baggio. Man, Baggio, what a player. He turns so well. But basically, yeah, it's just stay back while attacking with fullbacks. We've got stay back while attacking, which ended up being a drop between defenders later on. We tried that. We're experimenting now. On the central CM, the wide CMs default, the right forward and left forward are both on get in behind and drift wide, and actually ended up turning off getting behind, so they're just on drift wide. And then the central forward, the CF, the striker, another great finish from Baggio over there, is on false 9. And the second 4-3-2-1 has the exact same defensive instructions, the same midfield instructions. The difference is that the center forward isn't getting behind, and the left forward and right forward are actually on false 9. So the idea there is that maybe if I'm playing someone who I'm struggling to have numbers in the middle before I switch into a 4-2-3-1, which is like a last resort because that formation is so boring as this guy moves the keeper far post. Who does that? Because it's such a last resort, I have another, you know, the second 4-3-2-1 with a false 9 on the wingers is like to see if maybe I can crowd the middle enough with the 4-3-2-1. If not, then I switch to the 4-2-3-1, just all balanced. Sometimes you just need a basic setup that goes with the with the meta. Nonetheless, in a 4-3-2-1, what happens? Obviously, you guys saw Zaniolo at 7 chem on you know, center back, and here we actually ended up taking him off. As you can see, we did get Angelo Ogbonna, which was a huge upgrade. But before we did get him, you know, Tonali would move at center back, Zaniolo would be at left center mid. Here, obviously, there's no need for that. Ogbonna would be the center back. But nonetheless, obviously Donnarumma and Florenzi would play right back. I would move Zambrotta to left back because he does have the 5-star weak foot, so he can kind of play everywhere. Also makes sense, he did play there for a bit in real life, although mostly right back in real life. Center backs pairings was Tonali, Maldini to begin with, and then Tonali and Ogbonna later on. At CDM, or just central CM, it was Pirlo to begin with, and then obviously later on it became Tonali, made him the more defensive one, which allowed Pirlo to move to an outside center mid spot, give him more freedom offensively. And then obviously, like I said, the outside CMs, one was Politano the whole time. A great CM because he does have 72 defensive awareness, which is not great, but it's actually really high if he's the third CM, right? If you have two CMs next to him, like Pirlo, like the other one who I've used mostly, Tonali, two good defenders. The third one having 72 is kind of a big bonus. It's almost like the same reason if you have Hullet, Vieira, and then Zidane as a third CM, right? If you guys are people who play 3 CM formations, you'll know how big that can be defensively. And then we started off with Baggio at center forward. It made more sense. He's with a false 9 instruction. And then we had Del Piero as right forward because, you know, he could turn inside on his left as he shoots, pardon me, there with the green times. FIFA 19-esque. Here, this goal by Baggio, man. Dribbling as just awareness. Not the craziest dribbling, but, you know, we were aware of our surroundings there. And then obviously, left forward, it was the one, the only Sharaawy because he has a 3-star weak foot. So turning inside on his right foot was pretty much a must. Again, Baggio, man, what a player he has been. I think he was probably one of my favorites. Him and Pirlo. Bit disappointed in Del Piero, as you guys will see what will happen towards the end of the video. But that was a setup. And then in a 4-2-3-1, obviously it'd be Pirlo and Tonali at CDM. I'd put Del Piero as a makeshift striker and then Baggio in behind. But yeah, that's when it would be a little bit messy. And in terms of tactics, you know, balanced offensively, tried a little bit of balance defensively. We tried pressure after possession loss. You know, just depended on the moment, the opponent, the connection, guys. The connection is another huge one. Obviously, oh my god, that fake shot from Baggio just sent him flying. But yeah, with the whole, you know, situation where everyone's at home these days, it's making these servers even worse than usual. I know, it's surprising. It can happen. I didn't know myself that it could happen. So there are really some tough games just simply because of that. But, you know, recently, this is our second Elite 1 in 2 weekend leagues in 2020, right? We've only completed 2 weekend leagues this whole entire 2020, just because, you know, we know how I feel about this game, etc., etc. I've been playing a lot of PES, which has helped me, I think, improve in FIFA because, you know, there's different principles, completely different games. Neither of them are great games, but there are certain factors in PES which you need to think more about. So when you go back to FIFA from PES, passing seems so much easier. You know, you're going so much faster, so it almost feels like you take the chains off after you've been in PES and you're so restricted with movement and it's slower and you have to think so much more about passing, and there's less passing assistance. So when you come back on FIFA, you're almost like flying. It's kind of crazy. At least it works for me. Some people it doesn't. So I think that's a big reason why out of the 2 weekend leagues we've played in 2020, both of them finished with an Elite 1. That being said, the best formation obviously for me this weekend, 4-3-2-1 without a doubt. 4-2-3-1 saved us in a couple of games, as you see Del Piero giving that pass. Another assist here into Pirlo. Pirlo at left center mid, bopping, weaving. The way he left stick dribbles is magical. By the way, this guy was extremely annoying. He got me twice with the same type of goal. Didn't have any chances other than that. Just weave with with Messi and he'd get me. But we did end up tying it with Del Piero. And then obviously we get a penalty in extra time, which is huge. Pirlo slots it in. And unfortunately, look at the state of this equalizer in the 120th minute. All right, Adama Traore has 77 finishing on a 2-star weak foot. Luckily, we avoided getting rigged. Spoiler alert, we win the shootout. Incredible. We usually never win the shootout. That just goes to speak. That's the epitome of how fresh my mind is these days. You know, after a massive break from FIFA, after playing PES so much, I'm not burnt out at all on this game like I was 3 months ago. My opinions on this game haven't changed at all. It's just, I'm not raging as much, so I can afford to finish a weekend league here and there. Now, there are also a couple of other things to talk about that have been happening ever since, our last few videos. Here, our opponent gets his little goal on Sane. This was also a tough opponent because parking the bus on his first counter, he gets his first goal, right? This whole game, we dominated. Obviously, I'm only showing the goals, but he gets 2 counterattacks. It's the whole drop back situation, right? I think the game has improved after the overload ball side patch. I'm playing a lot less overload ball side patches here. Baggio with the left foot finish, incredible player. And then, even though it has improved, I have to say though that drop back still remains an issue. Counterattackers still remain an issue. Possession hoarding still remains an issue. And these are just things that go back to what I was talking about when I played the game at EA Play. So it's no surprise there. The overload ball side just fixes a problem that kind of developed as the year went on. We kind of went back to square one here without the overload ball side. But even recently, they just announced a patch where they're actually making overload ball side even worse, right? They're adding the stamina drain to it, which is great. But what I don't understand is they're actually giving or pulling back the nerf on team press. I really don't understand. I guess a lot of people have, complained about it, saying, oh my god, we can't press anymore, blah blah blah. I said this on Twitter, and a lot of people actually on Twitter didn't share my opinion, which is fine. It just goes to show how diverse everyone's opinion can be. I stand by my statement though. Team press has no shape, way, shape or form should be on this game. A lot of people say, well, possession rats are annoying. How do we play them without team press? And I understand your point. Trust me, they bother me as well. But team press is still incredibly overpowered. There's no reason to take away some of the stamina effect, even if it's even a marginal or a negligible difference. Any sort of change that makes it a little bit more viable, to me, it makes no sense. It's too overpowered. A lot of people tell me, oh, the game's a snooze fest. At least team press makes it more exciting. If what excites you, like I said to someone on Twitter, is watching the artificial intelligence do all the work for you, I suggest you go play Football Manager. You can watch the AI do all sorts of cracked out things. Team press, it's just, I understand the change in a way, but at the same time, it was going to be an L either way. If you make it even worse, it's kind of a dub, but it's also an L because I get it, possession hoarding. But at the same time, it was never going to be a W just because issues we've talked about since, EA Play, right? There's no reason for them to destroy second man press. There was no reason for them to keep passing assistance the way it is. They took away second man press, I assume, in an effort to reduce, as we see Pirlo with a green timed shot here. 20 wins, 8 games. We were actually going to stop, but Persian convinced us to keep going for the Elite One. Nonetheless, as I was saying, I imagine the reason second man press was nerfed so heavily since FIFA 17 was to quote-unquote nerf AI defending. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, FIFA 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, FIFA 17 and prior, all those FIFAs where you could second man press, but there were no defensive mentalities, were FIFA games where possession hoarding was less of a thing, and were FIFA games where manual pressing was more of a thing. So in removing second man press, which is supposedly this AI defending mechanic, you've actually made it easier for players to, hoard possession, and you've made it easier as well for everybody to press by adding defensive mentalities. So there's no skill gap in possession anymore. There's no skill gap, and the skill gap in possession isn't there because of how passing works. There's no skill, and also because of the lack of manual pressing, right? The only way you can press someone sometimes is by relying on the CPU. There's no manual pressing. There's no passing, manual passing. There's no manual interceptions. We were at a better stage with second man press and no defensive mentalities. That's the irony of it all, right? That's the point I make. I don't really think it's opinion. Of course, you don't have to agree. I don't think it's debatable at all. But whatever. That's a discussion for another day. I suppose we could kind of consider this Elite One highlights as a bit of a podcast. I hope you guys, maybe you guys have some free time. You're playing FIFA, you want something to play in the background. Hopefully this helped you guys entertain as we see the last final goals, which, by the way, our last game, we were 27-2. We didn't need the win, so we gave someone the free win. If you're in the same position where you don't need the wins anymore, give the free wins to someone else, guys. Pay it forward. I can't tell you how many guys rage quit against me at 0-0 for no reason. Like, there's no reason, right? If you're gonna rage quit, do it all the way. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know about the player reviews, and until next time, peace out.